Have you ever noticed that you don't visit people as much as you used to? You're not alone, and it's not something to feel bad about. There's a quiet shift that happens as we age. One day you realize that the invitations don't excite you like they used to. The drive across town feels longer. The small talk feels louder. And somehow the peace you find in your own home starts to mean more than all those drop-ins combined. But here's the truth. Most people won't say out loud. You're not becoming distant. You're becoming intentional. Today, I'm going to share 6 honest, heartfelt reasons why I stopped visiting people like I used to. And I promise you, it's not about giving up on relationships. It's about honoring what truly matters in this season of life. If you've ever felt this shift but couldn't quite put it into words, this video will speak to your heart. So grab your coffee, settle in, and stay with me until the end. Because this might just be the perspective you didn't know you needed. Let's begin. Number 1. Saving energy for the connections that matter. Let me ask you something. Have you ever come home from a visit feeling completely worn out? Not physically, but emotionally? You were kind, you smiled, you listened. But deep down, you knew that time could have been better spent somewhere else. That's what started happening to me. In my younger years, I'd go everywhere. Barbecues, baby showers, even just to drop by because it was the polite thing to do. But over time, I noticed something important. My energy wasn't endless anymore. Simple things, like getting dressed, driving across town, or holding long conversations, started to feel heavier. It wasn't that I didn't care about people. I just began to care more about which people truly mattered. I'll tell you about Martin, a good friend of mine. He used to say yes to every invite even when he was exhausted. He didn't want to let anyone down. But after one too many draining visits, he started asking himself, why am I pushing myself to maintain connections that don't really feed my spirit? So he made a quiet change. He started saying no to the things that felt like obligations, and yes to the people who filled his cup. Now, when Martin spends time with someone, it's meaningful. It's not rushed. It's not about keeping up appearances. It's about real connection, the kind that leaves you smiling after. Here's the lesson. Not everyone is meant to go with you into every season of life. And that's okay. Your time and energy are precious now. So why not pour them into the relationships that truly nourish you? That's not selfish. It's wise. Coming up next, let's talk about something equally important. Why it's perfectly okay to avoid social situations that bring more stress than joy. Number 2. Steering clear of unnecessary stress and drama. Let's be honest, some social visits just come with baggage. You walk in hoping for a pleasant time, and walk out feeling tense, frustrated, or even a little hurt. It took me years to realize that not every invitation deserves a yes, especially when it costs you your peace. In the past, I'd visit certain people out of habit or obligation, even when I knew I'd be stepping into an environment filled with gossip, backhanded comments, or unresolved tension. I told myself, be polite, keep the peace, just get through it. But that peace wasn't real. It was just silence covering up stress. Let me tell you about Grace. She's a dear friend who used to visit her sister every Sunday like clockwork. But every visit came with criticism. From the way she dressed, to how she spent her time, to how she raised her kids decades ago. Grace would come home emotionally drained, wondering why she kept doing this to herself. One day, she made a gentle but powerful decision. She stopped going. She didn't make a big announcement. She just chose peace. And you know what happened? Her Sundays became peaceful again. She spent time reading, gardening, calling friends who lifted her up instead of tearing her down. The lesson here is simple. Protecting your peace doesn't make you cold or uncaring. It means you've learned to value your emotional well-being. You don't have to sit through uncomfortable visits just to prove you care. Real love doesn't require suffering. It requires respect both ways. Now that we've talked about protecting your peace from the outside, let's look inward, to the place where many of us find the most comfort of all.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
Number 3. Finding comfort in familiar spaces. There's something special about home, isn't there? Your favorite chair, your own coffee mug, the quiet that fits you just right. As we grow older, the comfort of familiar surroundings becomes more than just convenience. It becomes a form of self-care. When I was younger, I loved going out. I didn't think twice about jumping in the car to visit someone or spend the day at someone else's house. But now, that same idea often feels more tiring than exciting. It's not about being antisocial. It's about recognizing that peace lives where you feel most at ease. Let me share Raymond's story. He used to feel guilty turning down visits, especially from his grown children or old friends. But each time he went out, he found himself watching the clock, the noise, the interruptions, the awkward seating. It left him feeling drained, not recharged. One day, Raymond made a small shift. Instead of going out, he started inviting people over, on his terms, at his pace. He brewed the coffee just how he liked it, set out snacks he could enjoy, and stayed in his comfy clothes. And the best part? The conversations felt more relaxed. The visits were shorter but sweeter, and he felt in control of the experience. Here's the takeaway. There's no shame in loving your own space. Home is where you feel safe, seen, and settled. It's okay if socializing feels better when it happens on your turf. And if staying in brings you more joy than heading out, embrace that. You've earned it. Now, let's move on to something that many of us learn over time. Why having fewer but deeper friendships is one of the best parts of growing older. Number 4. Valuing quality over quantity in social life. When you're young, having a full social calendar feels exciting. You meet up with coworkers, old classmates, neighbors, friends of friends. You say yes to everything because, why not? But with age, something shifts. You start to see that it's not about how many people you know. It's about who truly knows you. The energy to juggle dozens of relationships just isn't there anymore. And honestly, it doesn't need to be. Take Evelyn, for example. She used to go out of her way to stay in touch with everyone. Birthday calls, holiday cards, coffee dates, her phone never stopped ringing. But one day, she realized something. Most of those conversations stayed on the surface. It wasn't that they were unkind, they were just routine. So she gently let go of the pressure to keep up with everyone. Instead, she focused on the few people who made her feel seen and heard, those friends who understood her, even in silence. And what happened? Her social life became quieter, but richer. The visits were deeper. The phone calls lasted longer, even if they happened less often. She felt connected, not just occupied. Here's the lesson. You don't need a crowd to feel loved. You just need a handful of people who truly care. And those kinds of relationships, they don't need constant updates. They thrive on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. So if your circle feels smaller these days, don't worry. That might just mean your connections are getting stronger. Up next, let's talk about something that naturally comes with this kind of growth. A deeper shift in priorities, and how it can completely reshape your idea of what really matters.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
Number 5. A shift in priorities and deeper self-reflection. There comes a point in life when you stop living on autopilot. You pause, take a step back, and start asking yourself, what really matters to me now? For many of us, that shift doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks in quietly, through small moments of discomfort, quiet mornings, or long drives home after yet another draining visit. And slowly, your priorities begin to change. Where you once said yes to every invitation, now you ask, will this bring me peace? Is this how I want to spend my time? That's not being selfish. That's being self-aware. Let me tell you about Samuel. He spent most of his life as the guy who shows up. He was at every wedding, every birthday party, every church potluck, always with a smile, even when he was tired. But after he retired, something shifted. He started taking long walks alone. He read books he never had time for, and he began thinking about what made him feel truly fulfilled. He realized that showing up for himself was just as important as showing up for others. Now, Samuel still sees people, but only when it feels right. He fills his days with purpose, not pressure, and the joy he once searched for in crowded rooms, he now finds in quiet moments of reflection. The lesson: as you age, it's okay and healthy to reevaluate what brings you joy. You're not the same person you were 20 years ago, and your priorities shouldn't be either. This chapter of life is a chance to live more mindfully, with intention, peace, and clarity. And speaking of clarity, that leads us into something many people struggle with but rarely say out loud: why genuine friendships don't need constant visits to stay strong. Number 6. Understanding genuine friendships don't require constant visits. Let's be honest, the pressure to keep in touch can feel heavy sometimes. You start to wonder, am I being a bad friend if I don't visit often? Will they think I don't care if I haven't called in a while? But here's something that becomes clearer with age. True friendship doesn't fade just because you're not always there in person. The people who really matter, the ones who know your heart, they don't need constant reminders. They just need realness when it counts. Let me tell you about Elaine. She used to carry guilt like a backpack. If she hadn't visited someone in a while, she'd beat herself up. She'd schedule visits just to keep up appearances, even when she was tired or busy. But then she started noticing something. Her most meaningful friendships weren't built on how often they saw each other. They were built on trust, shared memories, and the kind of bond that doesn't require constant tending. Now, Elaine stays in touch in ways that feel natural. A thoughtful text, a surprise note in the mail, or a call when the moment feels right. And her friendships? Still strong, still full of love, because they're grounded in something deeper than routine. Here's the heart of it. Real friends understand that life happens. They know that love isn't measured in miles traveled or minutes spent together. It's in the intention behind your presence. And if someone makes you feel guilty for not showing up all the time, that might say more about them than it does about you. So give yourself grace. The best friendships are the ones where even after time apart, you pick up right where you left off. Now that we've gone through all 6 reasons, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned and how these insights can bring more peace, purpose, and joy into your everyday life. Let's wrap things up with some final thoughts. Number 7, embracing slower, more mindful living. There's a quiet beauty in slowing down. Not because you have to, but because you want to. As we age, life naturally takes on a slower rhythm. And somewhere along the way, we realize that pace feels just right. Gone are the days of rushing from one event to the next, squeezing visits between errands, or packing our calendars just to stay busy. Now, there's more joy in a peaceful morning, a good book, or a walk around the neighborhood than in any crowded gathering. And that's not a loss. That's a gift. Take Helen, for example. She spent years constantly on the go, church groups, volunteer events, family visits. She never stopped moving. But after turning 70, she started noticing how drained she felt. The excitement just wasn't there anymore. So she made a gentle change. She started saying maybe later, instead of always saying yes. She gave herself permission to enjoy slow mornings with her tea and crossword puzzle, or simply watch the birds outside her kitchen window. And over time, she found something she didn't expect: peace. Not loneliness, not boredom, just the calm satisfaction of a day unfolding on her terms. That's the heart of mindful living, choosing how you spend your time rather than letting it be pulled in 100 directions. Slowing down doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters, with intention. Whether it's baking a pie from scratch, taking a leisurely stroll, or calling one dear friend instead of juggling a dozen text messages, those are moments filled with presence, and presence is powerful. Here's the lesson. You don't have to fill every hour to live a full life. In fact, some of the richest moments happen in stillness, when you pause, breathe, and simply enjoy where you are. So if you've found yourself turning down more invites lately, or preferring the quiet of home over the buzz of a group, that's not a sign of slowing down in a bad way. It's a sign of wisdom, of knowing what brings you real comfort. And when you do choose to go out or be social, it comes from a place of wanting to, not needing to. Now let's talk about one more powerful truth many of us discover later in life. Why letting go of guilt and social expectations can bring a deeper kind of freedom.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 7 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
Number 8. Letting go of social expectations and guilt. Let's face it. For much of our lives, we've been taught to show up no matter what. Be there for every birthday, every reunion, every Sunday dinner. Say yes, be polite, don't disappoint. And while those values were rooted in love and connection, they also came with something heavier: guilt. Guilt for saying no, guilt for needing rest, guilt for stepping back when everyone else expected you to keep going. But here's what aging teaches us, and what we don't hear often enough. You're allowed to let go of guilt. You're allowed to do what feels right for you, even if others don't understand it. Let me tell you about Frank. For decades, Frank was the dependable one. He never missed a get-together, drove across state lines for family events, and even helped friends move furniture well into his 60s. But as he reached his mid-70s, Frank started to feel something he hadn't before: resentment. Not because he didn't love his people, but because his needs were changing and no one seemed to notice. He was tired. He wanted quiet mornings, time for fishing, or just an afternoon nap without checking his calendar. At first, he struggled. Turning down plans felt wrong. But little by little, Frank started saying no, with kindness, not apology. And what happened? He felt lighter. His true friends respected his choices. And he realized something powerful. The world didn't fall apart when he stopped trying to please everyone. That's the key. Letting go of social expectations doesn't mean letting go of people. It means letting go of the pressure to be everything to everyone. You've spent a lifetime showing up for others. Now it's time to show up for yourself. Your worth isn't defined by how many dinners you attend or how often you say yes. It's defined by how true you are to your own well-being. So if guilt starts creeping in the next time you turn something down, remember, it's okay to choose peace. It's okay to choose you. Now, let's bring everything we've shared together and reflect on how these insights can lead to a more peaceful, intentional, and fulfilling life. Join me in the final thoughts. Slowing down doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters, with intention. Whether it's baking a pie from scratch, taking a leisurely stroll, or calling one dear friend instead of juggling a dozen text messages, those are moments filled with presence. And presence is powerful. Here's the lesson. You don't have to fill every hour to live a full life. In fact, some of the richest moments happen in stillness, when you pause, breathe, and simply enjoy where you are. So if you've found yourself turning down more invites lately, or preferring the quiet of home over the buzz of a group, that's not a sign of slowing down in a bad way. It's a sign of wisdom, of knowing what brings you real comfort. And when you do choose to go out or be social, it comes from a place of wanting to, not needing to. Now, let's talk about one more powerful truth many of us discover later in life. Why letting go of guilt and social expectations can bring a deeper kind of freedom. As we move through different seasons of life, it becomes clear that not all relationships, routines, or expectations need to follow us into the next chapter. One of the most powerful lessons aging teaches us is the value of intentional living, choosing peace over pressure, and depth over duty. We learn that it's okay to protect our energy, to seek comfort in familiar spaces, and to nurture a few meaningful connections instead of keeping up with everyone. Saying no more often doesn't mean we're withdrawing. It means we've learned to honor what truly matters. Life becomes richer when we release guilt, let go of social expectations, and embrace the freedom to live at our own pace. Whether it's spending time at home, enjoying quiet reflection, or reconnecting only when it feels right, every choice we make can be an act of self-respect. The heart of it is this: your time is sacred, your peace is worth preserving, and your presence, when given freely and sincerely, is a gift. In this stage of life, we are reminded that simplicity, authenticity, and inner calm are not just luxuries. They are wisdom in action.
Thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today, how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.